Yeah, so last video I said I was gonna refrain from politics for a while. That was dumb of me to say that. How could I not talk about it? Not talking about it today would just be weird. I didn't want Donald Trump to be president. I had to really motivate myself to do this video. I had some beer last night. And then some whiskey. How do I want to say this? What happened? What is happening here? My feed, my Facebook feed, my Twitter feed. I scroll endlessly, and it's all people upset about the outcome. I didn't find one person celebrating. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. Humble brag. No. I'm living in my own media bubble. We all are. And when you look at how the United States voted county by county, we're living in a geographic bubble as well. Places with higher population, cities, tend to be blue. More rural areas tend to be red. It's the way it's been for years. So how did Donald Trump win the election? According to the media, it seems he got a large pocket of the white middle class men. More than one man. Those that work in agriculture, manufacturing, blue collar. He somehow tapped into that so hard. Many say a lot of it has to do with racism, homophobia, xenophobia, sexism. How do I talk about this? As a straight white man, it feels stupid for me to even be talking about this. I don't want to minimize anyone who's on the other end of hate, their experience. I can't possibly even know what that's like. I know it's real, I know it exists, and I know it's a part of this election. But here's what I want to talk about. I think it's only a part of it. I think there's this divide that is really, really separating us, and it's rural and urban. Came across two things that made me start thinking about this. There's a cracked article called How Half of America Lost Its Mind, and a post by my cousin who lives in rural Wisconsin, where I grew up, where pretty much all my family lives, explaining the point of view of someone from rural America, putting racism aside. Because if they're not all racist, my dad lives in rural America. He's not racist. Most of my family, I don't think, is racist. And if we just write all of them off as hateful people, we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to remain in our bubbles. But here's the thing. For decades, a lot of these people worked in factories, had steady jobs, manufacturing, agriculture, building things. Jobs have been shipped overseas. Unions have been busted. It's the fault of Democrats and Republicans. It's the fault of trade deals, supposedly. It's the fault of allowing corporations to ship jobs overseas. And I could see why someone in a small town wouldn't care about being PC, wouldn't care about the problems of hippies and hipsters in the city. And when a Republican or a Democrat comes to them with the same talking points for years and they see no results, someone, a billionaire businessman, comes in, talks to them, tells it like it is, off the cuff. Doesn't sound like a politician. He says what he wants. Promises them that he's going to end trade deals. He's going to bring jobs home. And somehow speaks right to the heart and makes them believe it. That, I think, is a big part of why the election went the way it did. A man who's oversaw the building of buildings, hired people to build them, even though he may not have paid them all the time. When he becomes president, now things will go back to the way they were. So yeah, Trump may have tapped into the fears of many people, of immigrants, of the other, but I think he also tapped into that desire to go back to a perceived time when things were better for them. We should call out racism, homophobia, everything when we see it, but we shouldn't expect it to change if we just shout it all the time at people who might not be. I don't know the answer, but I feel like there's got to be a way to bridge. Getting emotional. I'm sure many of you live in small towns. I grew up in a small town. I don't mean to generalize. Everyone has unique problems of their own. We should imagine each other complexly, but there's this hard divide in this country. And it seems to be getting worse. Like it or not, we're all in this country. Rural, urban, red, blue, whatever. We just have to figure out a way to bridge this gap. There's lots of ideas, I suppose. Multiple parties, ending the Electoral College. I don't know if those are the solutions. Are you a city dweller who knows some country folk? Give them a call. Maybe leave the farm and take a weekend in the city. I don't know, it's a start. I'm optimistic that we can be better. Thank you for watching. Oh yes, and I'm going to put a link to the cracked article and this clip from the Michael Moore documentary that Trump used as a campaign message. I think it really illustrates what I'm trying to say here.